Kirsi Kaunisharju from Ministry of Education and Culture from Finland. And I would like to add something of this funding system. In Finland, we have quite good basic level funding system for culture and creative industry. For example, Ministry of Culture has certain funding for these areas, of course. And but the challenge has been that these culture and creative industries, for example, SMEs, they haven't got any or not so much money from the development organization for SMEs. The basic level is quite good, but if you want to develop SMEs in creative industries, it hasn't been so easy, at least in Finland, and I don't know if it's the same in all over in Europe. But we have had quite big challenges in that. Of course, there is different kind of models for this funding, but the SMEs in creative industries, they don't know how to get this money, and some of these developers who give the money, they don't recognize these SMEs. And we have also used the structural funds, of course, in Finland for funding the creative industry. And we made a small research or report how between years 2000 and 2006 the SMEs in creative industries has got this structural funds money, and it was about 65 million euros. It's not maybe so much money, but anyway it's something, and it was only for SMEs or enterprises in creative industries. Of course, we have had cultural projects, other kind of cultural projects and infrastructure projects, for example. But the problem with these structural funds projects was that they were really regional. Of course, it's a regional money, usually, and they were not connected with each other, and best practices were not, there was no information of the best practices of these projects. And we didn't have any kind of national strategy for development of creative industry, but at the moment we do have. So in next program period we hope that we are also that we are able to use structural funds better than before. And one challenge, of course, is the venture capital, and I think it's maybe the most or the biggest challenge, and also to get money from the development of SMEs. But the venture capital, at least as I know in Finland, it has been used only for, almost only for game companies, for example, in creative industries, which is connected, for example, in ICT sector. But hopefully in future there will be also possibilities to have this kind of funding in larger scale in creative industry.
I have just a very fast question, if possible. Do you have already any data what was the absorption of this fund, this 65 million? You know, I mean, did you contracted all this money? Did you find, because you said in regions, it is mainly in the regions, and there is a problem with the human resources, and so did, for example, some of the businesses moved to the regions in order to get this money? I'm a little bit exaggerating, but was there any problem with spending this money?
I think the enterprises didn't change the places, but the problems maybe were such that some of the enterprises were quite small, and how they could use the money, and the projects were quite separate from each other. That was also one problem. And one problem in general in cultural projects, at least in Finland, I don't know if it's in Europe, but the organizations and SMEs are so small that it is really difficult to use structural funds money because the money comes, there's a delay of coming the money, and it's maybe 3 or 4 months when the money comes, and the organizations are very small. And usually these projects are of course run by, not by only one SME, but some kind of other organization, and there is not so many organizations who can run these projects.